What is a situation in your life that has shifted your perspective on how you view life now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, something that changed my perspective on life was back last year, January 7th, 2021. My best friend took his life. After that happened, I became a lot more appreciative of the little things in life. I also gained a greater understanding on mental health and also placed a lot more emphasis on other people's feelings and making other people feel welcome and respected. Dylan Buckner was my best friend. Losing him left a big gap in my life. I mean, we did a lot of things together. Dylan and I, we went golfing a couple times, obviously. He was in our friend group. We would hang out every single weekend. He was the nicest kid. He was the most selfless kid I knew. He would always ask other people how they were doing. It was also my first experience with having a friend that I knew had mental health problems. Dylan opened up to me about his issues and struggles with depression, and that was a really eye-opening experience for me. It really I would say the second that I found out what he was going through, I researched it a lot and I became a lot better of a person from that and appreciated literally everything in my life, my parents, my friends, extended family, etc., all those types of people because of what happened. I remember all the things we used to do with Dylan, just the little things, going out to eat, watching sports, and just hanging out as a friend group. It was so much fun with him, and not having him now, it really sucks. It was, I believe, 5 days ago was the 1 year anniversary of his passing. So that I was in Florida, and it really sucked to not be home with my friends for that. I remember after that happened, I became so much closer with my group of friends. We came together and bonded on this, and sort of made it we placed an emphasis on our life on making other people that are going through what Dylan was not have to experience the same thing, and make sure that they know that there are people there for them. Before this happened, I talked to Dylan on the phone. We were talking about hanging out that weekend. He was in Florida. I believe this was during winter break again. I was a freshman, and he was a senior still. And I remember him saying like, "Oh, I can't wait to hang out with you guys this weekend." I mean, that like when hearing those words from him of all people was just, I mean, so awesome. Like, we love Dylan. Being with Dylan, like I said on Instagram too, like, the weekends that we got to spend with Dylan were the best ones by far. I mean, it wasn't even close. Like, when he wasn't there, it wasn't the same. And when he was, I mean, his smile just lit up the whole room. He's such a nice kid. And then, I don't know if it was a Saturday or a Sunday that it happened, but I got a call. I was going to the bathroom, and I got a call from my cousin saying that Dylan had taken his life, and I threw my phone on the ground as hard as I could, and I just started immediately crying. I went right to my parents' room and told them what happened, and we were all, it was terrible. We were all just crying hysterically. My parents knew Dylan. He had been to our house so many times. My dad loved watching GBN football, and Dylan was on my football team when we were younger, the 1 year I played football, and we loved that kid. I mean, he was so hardworking. He was the best player on the field, and it was so hard. I had never been through something like that before, so having to experience that, I mean, it made me a stronger person, but I never want to have to experience something like that again, which is why we ended up starting an organization called Never Alone in North. So we just don't want other people to have to feel that way and not think that there's people there for them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that you took that pain and just turned it into something amazing, not just for him, obviously for him, but not just for him, because now it's affecting so many other people in a positive way, just getting rid of the stigma around mental health. And especially because it seems that sometimes on social media it just kind of shows like, oh, it's sometimes just like girls that go through it, but it is not just girls whatsoever. And so has that been like, because I mean, maybe you see on Instagram it's a lot of girls sometimes saying like mental health and talking about it, but you don't often see a lot of guys. So how has that been for you, being a guy talking about it? Like, it's definitely something I personally have not seen a lot of.
Yeah. So the reason why we ended up taking initiative is because obviously we had a really close friend group, and we really wanted to do something to honor Dylan. We knew that the only way to do that was through making positive change. And I, in particular, as well as my friends, a really big step and initiative to make sure that we did everything we possibly could to not only honor him, like I said, but make change in the community. We didn't care what other people thought. After this happened, this was a real turning point. I believe the statistic was like in the last 7 years or 8 years, 7 people had taken their life at Glenbrook North. Art Hockey, he suffers his own mental health issues, but his best friend, or one of his best friends, took his life, and he also lost some friends in car accidents as well. So when we kind of came together and talked about everything that had happened when we were obviously very upset about what had happened with Dylan, and we decided to start Never Alone at North. There's never been a day where we've thought or cared about what other people think. That has not been our focus. Our focus has just been on helping other people, and I think that's the strongest thing you could do is not worry about what other people think, and just do what not only makes you happy but also what helps other people and do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing that you like got a group of people all together to be doing this and promoting that. Like through the account, like what kind of like goes, are you the one posting the stuff on it, or is it everyone
Yes,
kind of doing that?
that's a good question. So at the beginning, most of the posts were just on my Instagram, and then once we created our Instagram, Never Alone at North, we have a couple social media managers that go in there and post everything, but we make the post together. So we took a 2-month pause, but we've been back and rolling. We sent out some emails to Glenbrook North and then also to Highland Park as well. So we're getting the wheels rolling on that again. But
What is that like? I'm actually just wondering, like, talking with like adults about this, because obviously, like, it's your friends that were what, like 18 around years old, and then bringing this up to adults, like, was that like really hard to do, or were you just like, I can do this? Like, what was kind of like your thought process through all of that?
yeah, so at first, our plan was just to send emails, but I think it was like a week left before I went to school, and I pretty much sat down with everyone and said, listen, I'm not just going to send an email, I'm going to go in there. So I went to the district office with my friend. We walked in there, and we didn't leave until the superintendent came down, and we spoke with him. We've also had 2 separate meetings with the principal, superintendent, as well as I think the director of student services, that might be it, Dr. Atherton, and we've had conversations about what we need to do as an organization to be compatible and be qualified to work with the school. We've done everything we can to get that stuff done, and we're just looking to meet with them again.
You're like out of high school. How are you kind of like dealing with continuing through all of this? Like, kind of obviously still carrying with him with you every day with every action you do, but also you're out of high school, you're not in the same environment, you're not with the same friends. So how is that transition going from that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say, like, when it comes to Never Alone at North and stuff like that, I just hold the mindset and the perspective on life that if you care about something, you're gonna make time for it. We have like our meetings every Monday. There's some things that we're supposed to do before each meeting. If you don't have the ability to put aside time to get something done, that means you don't truly care. So that's kind of the mindset that I live with, and to make sure that I'm getting everything done for that and doing all I can to help. When it comes to college, I mean, I would say that I've placed a lot less emphasis on caring what other people think about me since I've gotten to school, and I focused on not only myself but also making sure that other people feel safe, welcome, and just making as many friends as possible. People don't need to know what I've been through when it comes to mental health and losing my best friend, but I can just carry those values that have been instilled with me through my actions.
Before the situation happened, what were kind of like your priorities before, and then did they change after, or kind of like your mindset before and after, like just seeing a greater view on life, or was it just kind of like the same?
Yeah, for sure. So I was very sports and academics focused. I didn't really place an emphasis on, I wouldn't say caring for other people. I was always a good person, always respected others, but I didn't really place an emphasis on seeing how other people were doing and going out of my way, or I didn't really have much of a perspective or understanding on mental health in general. And then after this happened, that's where my perspective on life really changed. I became a lot more appreciative of the little things, a lot prouder of myself about little accomplishments, but also prouder of other people, and show them how much I respect them and how much I care about them, because I know how important that is, especially in a COVID world where everything's just become so much harder on everybody.